Hey guys, the Basement Crafter here. My name's Amanda and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a challenge video. So it's my second challenge and it is the minis with Crafted by Corie. If you haven't yet subscribed, please do so because you don't want to miss out on all the fun videos I'll be posting in the future. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. This first mini is probably considered a dupe because I have seen many other YouTubers doing this. So I'm going to be taking 3 of the tumbling tower blocks from Dollar Tree, 2 of the little square blocks that you get from the Dollar Tree in a pack of like 50, and then I'm taking my yellow paint by Folk Art, and I'm going to be giving all 3 of the tumbling towers and the 2 blocks just one good paint, one good coat of the yellow. I'm using my heat gun to dry the pieces, and I just wanted to show you guys that that's what I do while I'm crafting. I just like to dry my paint with the heat gun. It makes it go faster. So guys, I got a new camera to do my recording with, and I haven't really learned the area that it covers yet, and so I really do apologize that I did not notice that I was out of frame while I was doing this. But I'm just taking the 3 tumbling tower blocks and I'm hot gluing them together side by side to make a square. And then I took one of the square cutouts from the back of a 2022 Dollar Tree calendar, one of the Farm Fresh ones I think it was, and it's the month of April that has the rabbit laying in the grass, and I'm Mod Podging that to the top of the blocks. And here I'm just taking my box cutter and cutting the excess paper from the calendar. I couldn't decide if I wanted to put some kind of embellishment around it, but I decided against it. So the last step is going to be to just hot glue those yellow square blocks to the back of the calendar piece so that it has a base to stand up on its own. So this challenge is called the Minis Challenge, and it's hosted by Crafted by Corie. It's the 3rd Friday of every month the videos are posted, and it's really a fun challenge, and I always get a lot of inspiration from watching these videos. There's going to be a playlist linked below, and you really want to check it out because there's so many gifted and talented crafters that join in on this challenge. You just don't want to miss the inspiration that comes from these videos, so check out the playlist below. For the second mini, I'm taking a rectangle plaque that I found at the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to give the entire thing, front, sides, and back, 2 really good coats of Cashew by Waverly. I went to Cricut Design Space and I found a really cute image that I wanted to use for this plaque. So it was in 3 different colors, so I have to do some layering here. So what I do is take my transfer tape. I weed the first color, which is teal, and I take my transfer tape and I pull the vinyl up here. And as you can see, I'm having some trouble, but I do eventually get it. And again, I'm sorry that I'm out of frame. I promise I will get better with this and I will get used to this new camera. So now that I finally have that one peeled away, now I'm going to weed the purple part of the design, and then I'll use that same transfer tape that I have the teal vinyl on to pull up the purple vinyl design. And you really want to take your time when you do this because you want to make sure that everything lines up the way that it's supposed to. And the last step is to take the pink vinyl, weed that, and then use that same transfer tape, line the design up, and pull up the pink design, and then you'll have your complete design that you can lay on the plaque. But you want to learn from my mistakes and make sure that you cut a piece of vinyl that is big enough for the whole design, because as you can see, the Y is hanging off of the edge over there because I didn't cut my vinyl big enough. Or I'm sorry, not my vinyl, my transfer tape. And now that you have the complete design on the transfer tape, you can go ahead and lay it on the rectangle. For this one, I'm taking a small picture frame that I found at Dollar General. And you can see I broke the piece that holds the backing of the frame down, so I'm trying to super glue that back one here. It doesn't really work, so I kind of just have to like super glue it at the end, and you'll see that. But now I'm taking my light lavender by Folk Art, and I'm gonna give the whole frame a few good coats of paint. I take it one section at a time, use my heat gun in between each coat, and I think I did like 3 coats on each, and I'll show you that when I do the front. So because it's a plastic and not wood, that's why I had to do it the way that I did. But you see, I just do one coat, and then I'll take my heat gun, dry that, do another coat, take my heat gun, dry that, do another coat. And I did that like 3 times for every side. And I just take it one side at a time. And now we get to the front where I, do the same thing. This was the way I found was the best way to paint this and to get the darkness of the color that I want it. So, but for the front, I don't do it section by section. I just paint the whole front of it with one coat, take my heat gun, dry it, paint the second coat, heat gun, dry it, paint the third coat, heat gun to dry it, and then I think I only did 3 coats. So. I'm taking the back of the picture frame and I'm using a piece of like white canvas paper and I'm gonna trace out that square so that I can cover the back and have a background for my project. I'm gonna go ahead and use my scissors here to cut it out. And then I wasn't sure how I wanted to apply this to the back, but I go ahead and use these glue dots that I found at Hobby Lobby. And it's like the tape gun, but it's glue dots. And then I use that to put it onto the back of my, or to put it onto the back of the frame. And these really weren't the best. Like, you can see that I struggle. They don't really roll out as smooth as a tape dispenser or even like the whiteout, the correction tape. I mean, they worked good once I got the glue dot itself had a good adhesive to it. But getting them off or to roll out, it wasn't fun. But I'm just applying it now to the backing for the frame. And then I'm going to use my knife again to cut any excess paper from around the backing. So I'm going to take 2 rabbits out of the pack of wooden cutout rabbits from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to paint one of them in, it's called Patina by Folk Art, and then I'm going to paint one in Ballet Slipper Pink. And I do give them each 2 coats. And only paint the front. We don't need to paint the back because you won't see it. And I was trying really hard not to get it on the sides here because I wanted to keep that dark wood color that you get from laser cut pieces. So I was just taking my time. So now I'm just putting the backing back into the frame. And this is where you're going to see me hot glue that bracket back onto it so that it stays in place and it's secure. So I really hope you forgive me for all my mistakes in this video and with the filming, but I guess I missed filming when I hot glued the rabbits to the frame, but I just hot glued them to the frame and had them facing each other. So now I'm taking my image that I found on Cricut Design Space that says "Every Bunny Welcome," and I'm just weeding it here, and then I'll use my transfer tape to pull it up and place it on the frame above or place it in the frame above the rabbits. And I did have a hard time weeding it because the letters were really small, but I mean, that's what happens when you're working with minis. And this vinyl I got on Amazon in a pack of like 75 different colors, and it's really not, like, it works, but it's not the best for doing small things, especially. Like, the Every didn't want to pull away from the vinyl. So I had to work with that and place it back down. I never really measure for placement when I'm putting my vinyl down. I just kind of eyeball it. So that's all that I'm doing here. I just wanted to make sure that it didn't touch the rabbits and that it didn't touch the top or the sides of the frames. But it fit in there pretty good. And I did have to hold my finger on the back of the frame so that way the backing didn't pop out while I was pressing down on it with my scraping tool to get the vinyl to stick. But once I get that vinyl on there, that is it for this mini. I think it turned out really good. Let me know what you think. I've been wanting to do a rolling pin for my tier tray for a long time, so I thought this would be the time to do it. So I'm just taking a rolling pin that I found at Hobby Lobby in a pack of 3, and my camera died. Didn't know that it did. So you missed me again painting the rolling pin. I'm just using that same patina color from Folk Art, and I gave the whole thing 2 good coats. Now I'm going to take the scrapbook paper that I found at Hobby Lobby, and I'm just going to take my pencil and I'm going to line up one edge of the rolling pin with one edge of the scrapbook paper, and then I'm going to kind of roll it down and mark it every so often. I'm going to put a mark so that I know where to cut it. And I use my ruler and my knife. That was just easiest for me to do. You can certainly use scissors or a paper cutter, but this is just what I found was easiest for me. And so I trim it up. I do have to make a couple adjustments to it, as I go, but that was just the easiest way for me to do it. So you'll see here when I lay the rolling pin back down, there's still just a tiny bit of paper that's left over. So I just mark it, take my ruler and my knife and cut off a little bit more. Now it's time to apply the scrapbook paper to the rolling pin, and I am doing that using Mod Podge. And I use a makeup brush to apply the Mod Podge. And I'm just doing it little sections at a time. I just apply some Mod Podge, put the scrapbook paper down, rub it down, make it smooth, no wrinkles, no bumps, and then I put Mod Podge on top of the section that I just put down. Then I move on to the next section, a little bit of Mod Podge on the rolling pin, lay the paper down, smooth it out, and then put Mod Podge on top of the paper. And I just do that the whole way around. This was just the best way for me to do it. This scrapbook paper was a little bit thick, so it was kind of hard. I kind of couldn't do the whole thing at once. I couldn't coat the whole rolling pin in Mod Podge and wrap the paper around. I had to do it in sections like this. And I'm making sure that I pay close attention to the edges and get a lot of Mod Podge on the edges so that it doesn't come up and on the seam where the 2 ends of the paper meet in the back of the rolling pin. If that makes sense. So I went to Cricut Design Space again, and I printed out the words Hello Spring, and I used black permanent vinyl. So I'm just weeding that here, and then I will apply it to the front of my rolling pin. And again, I'm not sure if it's this vinyl that I bought from Amazon or if it's just because the letters are so thin, but the letters did not want to pull away from the vinyl. I had a hard time with this one as well, especially that P. So I do have to manually put it back in place and, fix it myself. But I'm just pulling out a piece of transfer tape now, so that way I can pull that vinyl up and place it on the rolling pin. And then once that's finished, this project's done. Guys, let me know down in the comments which one so far has been your favorite mini. So this next mini is going to be relatively quick. I'm just taking one of the white buckets that come in a pack of 3 in the wedding section at Dollar Tree, and I'm going to take pink vinyl with the words Easter egg hunt and put that onto the front of my bucket. I just found this in Design Space. So you'll see me weed it, and again, I had trouble because, you know, I guess because they're small, but that's the price that I will pay for being part of a minis video. But you'll see me struggle here a little bit, but I do eventually get it. And then I'll just use my transfer tape to pull the vinyl up and place it on the front of my bucket. And when you're weeding really small images or words like this, you really want to have a sharp weeding tool. You don't want to use like the Dollar Tree one. You really want a Cricut one. I will say that even though it's a little difficult to work with this vinyl as far as weeding and pulling the image away from the vinyl, it does stick very well to the transfer tape. Like, it is very easy to transfer. I have not had any problems trying to pull it up with the transfer tape. But after I do that, I'm going to just take some of the Spanish moss that you can get at the Dollar Tree, and I'm just trying to pull a little bit. And this stuff is messy. It's dusty, it's flaky, it gets everywhere. So I'm just pulling out a little bit from the bag, snipping it, and then putting it into the bucket until I think that it's full enough. And then I'm going to take these little mini eggs that I found. Well, I guess first I'm going to clean my work area. Got to have a clean space. But I'm going to take these mini eggs that I found at the Dollar General. I think they were $1. I think they were only $1 for this kind of decent sized bag of mini eggs. And they're the mini speckled eggs. So I was just going to start with 3, but then I add more. I actually wind up using 6 of them. So I place them in there where I want them to sit. And then I'm just going to hot glue each one down, one at a time. And guys, you want to learn from my mistakes because I always learn the hard way. But I should have hot glued the Spanish moss into the bucket first. So that way it wouldn't move and it would be more stable and permanent. So I just pull that out. I just dump it into my hand. It came out really easy. The egg stayed in place. And I put a bunch of hot glue in the bottom of the bucket and then placed the Spanish moss and eggs back in. So now I wanted the handle to stay up. So I'm just kind of trying to hot glue, put a little dab of hot glue on each side so that the handle stays up. And then once that's done, this mini is over. I think it turned out so cute. Let me know what you think. Now I'm taking a Hexagon wood block from Dollar Tree. I'm using my heat gun to remove the sticker on the back. And then I'm going to give just the front of the hexagon 2 good coats of the cashew. Just the front, not the sides or the back, just the very front. And sorry guys, it's the color Cashew by Waverly Chalk Paints. So now I'm going to paint the sides and the back in the Ballet Slipper by Waverly Chalk Paint. And I don't use any tape or anything. I just take my time. So what I do is I swipe up. Like I don't want any on the cashew, so I'm taking the paintbrush and I'm swiping up towards the cashew, but making sure that it doesn't go like over the edge. I just swipe away, like I swipe up on the edge. I just swipe up. Hopefully that makes sense. I do give it 2 coats because I just wanted it to be nice and dark, thick. Like I didn't want to be able to see any of the wood color. With chalk paint, you probably typically only need 1 coat, but I did do 2 coats for this project. So I'm going to be applying a window cling to the front of this hexagon. So I'm going to put down a layer of Mod Podge first. And I did a not too thick, not too thin, kind of a medium sized layer of the Mod Podge. And then here's the window cling that I got. It was in a pack of Easter themed window clings from the Dollar Tree. And it's a wreath and it says Easter blessings with the pink and yellow flowers. So I just lay that down in the position that I want it. It's okay if it hangs over a little because we're just going to cut that off at the end. But yeah, I just smooth it out, get it where I want it, make sure there's no wrinkles or bubbles underneath. And then I put a nice thick, actually I cut it first. So we'll flip it over and I use my knife to cut any excess of the window cling that's hanging over the edges, and then I'll put a nice thick coat of Mod Podge on top of it. All right, so here's our last mini. I'm taking 3 of the 2-pack of foam dice from that you can get at the Dollar Tree, so it's 6 dice total. And I'm taking these pastel colored balloons that I found at Walmart. It was $5, but it was a pretty decent sized bag of balloons. And you see me struggle here. Like I am struggling. These balloons say that they're the same size as the ones that you can get at Dollar Tree that you see other crafters using for like little marshmallow people. And I did make 2 marshmallow people of my own recently, and I did not struggle this much. So I don't know if it's a different material, if it's because they're like the balloons have like a pearl look to them, but I am telling you, I struggled getting these balloons onto these dice. But I mean, it takes a minute. It does take a little bit of hard work and some elbow grease, but it's worth it definitely in the end to not have to paint them. But I'm doing 2 dice in the pink balloons. And then for the hole on the bottom, I'm just taping it up with a piece of tape because you're not going to see that. I just didn't want it to make it lopsided when it's sitting down. And then I'm going to do 2 of the dice in purple. And you want to cut the top of the balloon off. So you cut off the top of the balloon, stretch it a little bit, and then just put it over the dice. And then tape it at the bottom, like I said, so that it doesn't, so that it sits flat and it doesn't have anything to make it like weeble wobble. And the balloon might leave a little bubble at the top, and I just use my thumbs and just stretch out the balloon, stretch it out, smooth it out, and it usually takes the bubble away. And then so for the last 2 dice, I'm going to cover them in the blue balloons. So I'm going to use the letter cutouts that you can get from Walmart in the craft section, and I'm just going to take the letters SPRING to spell out the word spring. I apologize if I get this wrong, but I got this idea to put the wood letters or anything small really onto painter's tape when you're painting them, so that way it's very less messy. But I think that it was Crafts by Amber or Crafting with Amber who I first saw do this, and I just thought it was genius. So I do it for all of my crafting now. So I just take the wood cutout letters, I put them onto the painter's tape, and then I give them all 2 coats of white Waverly chalk paint. And you want to make sure that you get the sides and in all of the holes, like the hole in the P and the R, you want to just make sure that you get them really good. But I mean, having them on the painter's tape just makes it so much easier. And then once the paint's dry, you're just going to remove the letters from the painter's tape, and then you're going to hot glue 1 letter to the front of each die. So what I did was alternate the colors. I started with purple, I believe it was. So it went purple, blue, pink, purple, blue, pink, to spell out the word spring. I originally had them stacked in a pyramid like that because I thought it would be really cute to have them in a pyramid, but then I remembered this is a mini and it's supposed to be for like a tier tray, and something that big would never fit on a tier tray. But I still think that it turned out really cute just having them side by side the way that I did. And guys, once I put that G on, this mini is done, and this is the last one for this video. Let me know what you think. Guys, that's it for this video. I really had so much fun making all of these minis. I'm so glad that you took the time out of your day to watch my video and to support my channel. If you haven't yet, please subscribe. Please like the video, leave me a comment. I love to talk to my viewers and interact with them. Share the video. That would be awesome. I'm really trying to get myself out there. I'm working on making my videos better. If you saw my video from last week, I really think that I have improved on my video for this week. And I just know it's just going to keep getting better and better. I'm gonna try, I think I want to do a decorate with me video tomorrow because I'm taking down my St. Patrick's Day stuff and putting up my Easter decor. So I think I'll go room by room, and that might be a video for tomorrow. So again, thank you for watching. I hope you have a great night, and don't forget to watch the playlist below. You're not going to regret it. Bye, guys.